Bringing your feet to the front of the mat. Feet together. Folding forward, standing forward, bending those knees. Flexing out the hamstrings, coming onto the tips of the fingers, and either walk or jump back into plank position. Coming in to side plank, stretching those fingers up to the sky, looking up towards the fingers, back to plank, and then popping over to the opposite side, looking up, stretching up towards the sky, coming back, chaturanga, upward dog or cobra, coming into a nice comfortable down dog, so walking that dog, flexing the knees, taking the heels from the ground, coming into three-legged dog, taking the foot towards the buttocks and then bringing that foot forward between the hands into high lunge or low lunge if that's what's available. Coming back into Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog, again playing with that dog. It's a nice morning stretch. Come into your three-legged dog if it's available. Back into high lunge in the opposite side, stretching to the sky, playing with that lunge. Hands down, opposite side into down dog, forward to chaturanga, holding the plank, back to down dog. Don't worry about taking the heels to the mat, just play with this posture. You're stretching out, it's first thing in the morning. Back to down dog, taking the shoulders away from the ears, flowing back into plank and then into side plank again, stretching those fingertips up to the sky, back to the center and over to the opposite side, stretching, not falling into that plank, moving around, moving the hips, moving the legs. You don't have to be static. Coming in to upward dog and then back into downward dog, playing with that doggy, taking the right foot forward, fingertips to the sky from high lunge into warrior two, then reversing that warrior two, stretching the hand down the leg, stretching the tips of the fingers up and over, taking the hands, set the hands either side of the foot and back into down dog. And from down dog, we are floating forward to plank into up dog and then back to down dog again. So walking that doggy. It's all about limbering up, have fun with it, play around. Taking that right foot forward, fingertips up to the sky, from your high lunge into warrior two, into reverse warrior, then placing the hands down again. Chaturanga, up dog, flipping over the toes into downward dog and changing sides. So coming in to high lunge on the left side, then moving that into a warrior two and from warrior two into reverse warrior. You're playing around with this, flexing, stretching back into chaturanga, into upward dog, flipping over the toes into downward dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana. Place the feet. Feel free to walk the doggy, wiggle the hips, lengthen through the spine, and then jumping or stepping forward into Dhanurasana, seated staff pose. Then we're going to take the left hand over to the right side of the body, just pushing the back of the hand against the thigh and twisting. And the same on the opposite side. Remember, this is your practice. Hold these postures as long as you want to. Crossing over the feet, jumping or stepping back into Sphinx Pose. Shoulders back and down away from the ears, forearms on the mat, shoulder width apart. And I am just stretching out my neck here because I always have a really stiff neck in the morning. So taking that head side to side, forward, back. And then we're coming into Dhanurasana, upward facing bow. Grabbing the feet if that's available. If one side's available, that's fine. Pulling up, looking up between the eyebrows towards the third eye and releasing down. Then popping back into Urdhva Balasana, child pose. Now you can keep the feet, the knees together and stretch out the lower back or take them apart. Stretching those fingertips out, sliding forward into puppy pose. Just wiggling those hips, wiggling the buttocks, releasing the coccyx, releasing the length of the spine and coming into all fours, tabletop, and from there rolling cat pose or rolling cat curls. So leading with the head, As we curl up, curling forward, navel to the mat, curling back, cat and cow. And now we're going to pop into threading the needle pose. So extending that right hand out, a lengthening, and then taking through. Opposite side, left side, extending through, stretching with those fingers, and just enjoying the release in the lower back here. Coming back to seated position. So now we're going to come into double pigeon pose, which is gorgeous for working in that psoas muscle in the morning. As you can see, I'm just waking up. So taking the right foot to the left knee and vice versa. And we're just going to again do some neck stretching here, both sides. Then we're going to take the forearm to the floor, stretching the full extent of the body, just really enjoying that stretch along the side. Changing sides, lengthening through those fingertips, remembering to breathe and walking those fingertips forward. Enjoying the stretch in the lower back, really feeling this in the buttocks, the psoas. And changing over sides. Have a wiggle, have fun with this, like me. Clasping the hands together, stretch them up towards the sky, and then same again. So stretching to one side, coming onto the forearm, being aware that you may be more flexible on one side than the other, and that's absolutely okay. Both sides stretching to the full extent, and then bringing those fingertips forward, stretching them as far away from the body as possible, and just stretching into that, enjoying that release. So now we're going to come into seated twist pose, Ardha Matsyendrata, half lowered the fishes. So you don't have to do the full bind here. You can just push the elbow against the knee. The main thing is extending through the top of the head and that nice rotation from the center body. Coming back to the middle, changing over sides. Pushing the elbow against the knee, lengthening through the top of the head. If you can bind, if that's available, binding the hands and rotating as far as is comfortable, looking towards the tip of the nose. An absolutely gorgeous stretch, just really opening up the shoulders, the neck, the upper body. And popping into Baddha Kanasana, Cobbler's pose. Pushing the knees down, pulling up with the hands. And walking those fingers forward if that's available to you. If you have to use blocks under the knees, please do so. You can also flex the knees if that's more comfortable for you. And as you can see, I'm doing some more neck stretches, a really stiff neck in the morning. If this is you, join in with me, just rotating clockwise, anti-clockwise, from side to side, whatever is comfortable and available to you. And just rocking onto your back here into Supta Baddha Kanasana, reclined cobbler pose, and then from there into egg pose. So just rolling backwards and forwards, rotating those knees in a clockwise direction and then anti-clockwise, just massaging and releasing the lower back. And then stretching to opposite sides, looking towards the left, legs towards the right, and then in the opposite direction, looking towards the fingertips of the opposite side. Coming back to center, bringing your